At a recent staff meeting, we agreed that certain holy days of obligation don't receive as much attention as they should, the Feast of the Assumption being one of them. I mentioned that I have traveled to a village in the former Yugoslavia named Medjugorje, where the Blessed Virgin Mary is said to have been appearing there since 1981 until this very day to 6 young people. I am sure some of you have heard of it, and I'm sure some of you have been there. In June of 1981, the children were ages 10 through 17, 4 girls and 2 boys. Our Blessed Mother told the children to tell the people of this small village to open their homes because the world would be coming, and the world has come. I have been to Medjugorje many times. Several of those trips have been during the Feast of the Assumption. I shared with the staff that on one occasion, while in Medjugorje for the Assumption, I awoke at 4 in the morning to the sound of people walking down the dirt road past the guest house where I was staying. They were quietly singing and praying the rosary as they found their way with flashlights. This peaceful prayer continued into the early hours of the morning as more and more people arrived on foot from surrounding towns and villages. I soon learned that pilgrims from all over the world would be coming on this particular day to celebrate Our Lady's Feast Day. More than 300 priests would celebrate, while thousands upon thousands of pilgrims joined in prayer at that Mass. The grounds of the parish church, St. James, were more than overflowing. It was then that I came to understand that Our Lady is the mother of us all. Jesus, from the cross, gave his mother to us when he said, "Woman, behold your son. John, behold your mother." Why then aren't the churches in the United States overflowing when we celebrate Mary on her special feast day? At the staff meeting, I offered to give a brief Marian reflection on what Mary has meant to me in my life. In short, I wanted to share how Mary has brought me back to the church and the sacraments. It was Mary who helped me to understand the sacrifice that Jesus made for me. Mary, the mother of Jesus, in Medjugorje, calls herself the Queen of Peace. As you will learn, her name, her feast days, and the title of the Queen of Peace all have very special meaning in my life. My grandmother's name was Mary. She was born on December 8th, the feast of the Immaculate Conception. Both my mother and mother-in-law were baptized with the name Mary. My husband, Joseph, Mary and Joseph, and I have given the name Mary to one of our daughters. Is it a God incidence that our daughter Mary was born on October 13th, the anniversary of the miracle of the sun in Fatima? And my brother Joe, another Joseph, whose 60th birthday is today, was born on August 15th, the Feast of the Assumption. I was raised in a very large Catholic family. We prayed the rosary every night in October and May. I went to Queen of Peace Catholic School and Queen of Peace Church every Sunday and Holy Day until the day Joe and I married at age 23. I received all of my sacraments at Queen of Peace Church. Who would have thought that I would then place God on a shelf for the next 5 years of my life? My parents did their best to make sure the seeds had been planted as I was growing up. However, the seeds remained dormant for the next 5 years as I walked away from my faith soon after we married in 1982. I was young, I was comfortable, and I didn't think it really mattered whether I went to church. I believed in God, he just didn't have a place of priority in my life. It was now 1987, and we had 2 children. A high school friend and her husband were visiting one evening when the conversation turned to a recent trip they had taken to Europe, namely Medjugorje, in the former Yugoslavia. That night, my friend shared all about the 6 children and Our Lady's apparitions. She told me that Our Lady said, "I am the Queen of Peace, and I have come to bring peace." She said, "I have come to tell the world that God exists." On the 3rd day, Our Lady said, "Peace, peace, and only peace, must reign between God and man and among humankind. As my friend spoke these words, my tears began to flow, watering the seeds that had planted by my parents so many years ago. My friend shared how the Blessed Virgin Mary had been coming every day for several years to these 6 young people in this little farming village. She said Our Lady is often joyful when she comes, but there are times when she is very sad because the world is not listening. She spoke about how the communist government had tried to stop the children from their lives by putting their parents in jail and threatening them. She spoke of the doctors and scientists who were atheists who had been sent to investigate the children and prove them wrong. She spoke of these same professionals and their conversion of heart and how they told the authorities that there was nothing wrong with these children. The story itself is very long, and it is story for another day when ice cream is not waiting. My story, however, in brief, is that when my friend left our home that evening in 1987, my life was changed. I couldn't wait to go to Mass the next day. I was so sorry for leaving God out of my life for so long, and I was so very thankful that He had waited for me. I wept at Mass that day and knew I would never miss Sunday Mass again. What I didn't do, however, was confess my sins. I am ashamed to say it just didn't occur to me at the time. 1 year after my friend's visit to our home, our 3rd child was born on December 12th, 1988, the feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. You think she had to hit me over the head. 2 years later, in November of 1990, I took my first of many pilgrimages to Medjugorje with my mother. Although my mother did not need conversion, for me, the pilgrimage was life-changing. A lot of people misunderstand the word conversion. They don't realize that a cradle Catholic can have a conversion too. It was a conversion of my heart, not of my religion. I've often told people my conversion took place in Medjugorje, and they say, "Oh, you haven't always been Catholic?" Yes, I've always been Catholic. I just needed a conversion of heart. Lost my place for speaking out. Okay. I never thought that I was committing a mortal sin by missing Mass. Having missed Holy Mass so often and for so long, the first thing I should have done was go to confession. I didn't fully understand the grace that comes from the sacraments. I had returned to God and the Holy Mass, and I thought I was happy until that day in November of 1990, while on pilgrimage, when I confessed my sins for the very first time in many years. I cried a river of tears I didn't know were in me as I let go of my sinfulness. As I told my mom after that confession, I felt like a newborn baby. I felt as white as snow. I had no idea I was quoting scripture, but I was finally at peace with God. I was now understanding and experiencing the grace that was being poured out upon me from the cross. Jesus had died for my sins, and it was His mother who had led me to this realization. She brought me to a place where I could understand, and it was in this little village that I came to know and love Jesus. Our Lady loves each and every one of us unconditionally. Whether you love her or not, she loves you. Think about it. How could any mother willingly offer her son as a sacrifice for the life of another unless she loved the other also? She loves me and she loves you. We are the other. Mary stood by the cross of Jesus and watched as He bled and died because of my sins. And once my heart acknowledged this, I understood just how much they loved me. I believed from the very first moment that Mary was coming to this little village of 400 farming families. Why I believed immediately and why it had such a profound impact on my life, I'll never know. Slowly, Our Lady helped me to come to know her Son. Many have misunderstood apparitions to be all about Mary, when in fact they are all about Jesus. Mary is always pointing to Jesus. One day, at the beginning of the apparitions in Medjugorje, the parish priest realized that the people seemed more interested in going to the hillside where Our Lady was appearing than they were in coming to the church. Understandably, this disturbed him greatly, and he told the children. The children later asked Our Lady, "Should the people come to you, or should they go to the church?" Our Lady replied, "Tell them, if they have a choice, to come to me or to go to the Holy Mass. No, don't come to me." She said, "Go to the Holy Mass, where you will meet my Son." She also told them that whenever the faithful are adoring my Son, I am there present. So tonight, celebrating Our Lady and having the sacrifice of the Mass, she's here with us. Our Lady has given many blessings, but the most important ones, many messages, but the most important ones are peace, prayer, fasting, conversion of heart, reconciliation, and strong faith. On Monday of this week, while visiting one of our parishioners, I was given a special gift. I found him sitting at a picnic table on the grounds of his retirement home. There were men and women at other tables nearby chatting, but I noticed he was alone with his head down. As I got closer, I saw in this man's large hand a small, childlike, plastic blue rosary. I said hello and asked him if I could join him in his prayer. He told me he was on the 5th joyful mystery as he began the finding of the 12-year-old child Jesus in the temple. He prayed, "Our Father, who art in heaven," and I joined him. We then prayed 10 Hail Marys and the Glory Be as we meditated on the life of Jesus as a boy. Together we finished with the prayer of the Hail Holy Queen, the Memorare, and his prayer to St. Michael the Archangel. There was such beauty and peace in these moments of prayer with this gentle man. It doesn't matter if I am in a crowd of 30,000 in the village of Medjugorje, with a group of 15 to 20 friends at home or at church, or with just one other person at a picnic table in Lancaster County. There is a special grace received whenever we turn to Our Lady in prayer. She is our mother, and I believe that she is inviting each one of us to experience in a very special way the love of her Son. My own mother, Mary, is now 91, and my father is 94, and his name is Albert. And I will be forever grateful that they taught me the prayer of the Rosary as a child. Even if it didn't seem important to me at the time, the seeds were planted, and I thank God and my parents for that. And now, ever since we started coming to this church, the Ave Maria Gratia Plena behind here, I'm always singing this to myself because there's a song that they sing in Medjugorje that also is a prayer. And if I can just ask you to close your eyes while I sing this prayer, and you can join along if you know this. As I kneel before you, as I bow my head in prayer, take this day, make it yours, and fill me with your love. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu. All I have I give you, every dream and wish are yours, Mother of Christ, Mother of mine, present them to my Lord. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus lost in your